Today's episode is brought to you by $3 headsets.
Drop the beat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to High Noon Podcast, the competitive Overwatch podcast. I'm your host, Blevins, and with me, as always, is Deathblow. What's up, buddy?
Not too much. How's it going?
Going all right. Man, yesterday was pretty great. I've been purposely not bringing it up so that you wouldn't be ready to react. But man, those New England Patriots.
I don't think you're going to get the reaction you expected from me. It was a phenomenal football game, probably the best Super Bowl ever.
Oh my God, shut up. You
not at all salty about it.
You're salty.
I didn't get the result I wanted, but I wasn't invested in the Atlanta Falcons. Everybody expected me to be super mad about this game. I think it's funny.
Yeah.
No, it was a phenomenal football game.
Fan was.
Well, we didn't get the result we wanted, but I mean, How do you argue with that outcome? How do you argue the final
with Tom
whole
Brady
end of the game
being the best player of all time? I don't know how you argue with that.
I don't.
Well, you're not a true Bills fan. That's all.
Okay.
I guess I'm more of a Bills fan than you, even though
I hate him, and he's a filthy, rotten cheater. I don't want everybody to think I'm flip-flopping, and all of a sudden I love them because of that game. No, they're trash human beings. Don't get me wrong.
Deathblow flip-flop confirmed.
Best football game ever. Best football game ever.
It was pretty much the best football game ever.
Yeah, you can't ask for better in the Super Bowl. Sure.
At least it was definitely the best half of football ever. And it was the first game I saw this season, so definitely a good one for me to start out.
The expert over here.
Yep, it was pretty great. I was at actually, I guess we might as well just segue in. We're going to jump around a little bit. Let's segue into what did we do last week. Watched the Super Bowl yesterday. I was at a Super Bowl party where, actually at Phelan's house, so shout outs to
nice.
Phelan. Rip Phelan, he actually is dead. But was at his house at a party where, with the exception of Phelan, I was the foremost authority on football.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, there was about half of the party did not know the scoring system of football.
Oh, good. This is why I watch the Super Bowl by myself while talking to my friends online, in Facebook chats.
Yeah, I had a great time because I felt like some sort of football wizard. I was like, oh yes, back in 2004, Eddie George ran for 20. I was just making up stats and saying words that aren't actually associated with football.
Hey, Eddie George was a real football player. So.
Eddie George is my favorite football player of all time. I used to run the old Madden strategy of Eddie George touches the ball every single play. He has 500 rushing yards at the end of the first half. And if you ever got injured, I would just stop playing. It was great. It was the most effective Madden play ever. But did you do anything fun and exciting last week, Death?
No, just had some tryouts. I watched a whole lot of a TV show about Nazis that we talked about last week, Man in the High Castle.
Did you watch it all?
I am halfway through the last episode.
Of season 1 or 2?
2.
Oh, nice.
I had to pause it. Oh, I almost did beat you.
Close.
I had to pause it when you were like, I'm ready. I'm like, oh, now I can't be like, I'm fully caught up. But.
Yeah, I saw and I actually probably paused at the exact spot that you stopped. But I saw it. It's good, man.
It's less good in season 2, in my opinion, but it's still.
I don't disagree with that, but it's still good.
I need to rewatch it. I don't know. It kind of lost me a little bit, and I think I might have overreacted to part of it, and then I don't know. So I didn't pay as close attention at the beginning of the season because I was really nervous, and so I'm gonna go back and watch season 2 again. I don't know, just when I'm eating or something, when I've got nothing else to focus on.
Yeah,
and can pay attention.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I think I played a million hours. I think I went from like rank 1500 in Clash Royale up to 3000 while watching that.
Yeah, that's really the problem, is that I pick up like it lost me just enough where I want to pick up my phone and like make sure my chest isn't ready, or you know, something like that. Like
I just always want to do that because I am literally hooked up to the internet. There's a chip in my brain that tells me, for better or for worse. It's definitely for worse. But let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Man, guess what? New patron hype! Huge $10 patron from Nathan C. Thank you so much, buddy. I am going to double check really quick because I sent him the message before we went live to be like, hey, thank you for the patron, and here's your link to the patron exclusive Discord. And it doesn't look like he got back to me. Okay. I was like, if you have a shout out or something, if you get it to me within like 15 minutes, it'll be on this week's show. Did not get back to me. So, not a problem, but huge shout outs to Nathan C. And guys, if you want to support the show financially, yeah, you're never obligated to. The show will always be 100% free. But if you want to throw us some support in that way, head on over to High Noon head on over to highnoonpodcast.com, but you can head on over to patreon.com/High Noon Podcast. And if you want to support the show in a really great way, but not financially, throw us a review over on iTunes. So let us jump back to what did you guys do last week? And I want to start off, what did you guys do last week, with something that didn't happen last week that I thought would happen last week. I thought we'd get another Dino Flask video. Are you familiar with the Dino Flask videos, Death?
No, you lost me.
Okay, so Dino Flask videos, the first one I saw I thought was pretty funny, but I thought it was pretty dumb. And then every one after that, it's gotten hilarious, more and more hilarious. So all it is this guy, Dino Flask. Check him out, youtube.com/Dino Flask with a K. He basically takes the developer updates by Jeff Kaplan and just mashes the words to make him say funny things. And like that wouldn't, like, in and of itself, that is not that funny, but he's making Jeff say some funny things. Like the writing that he's doing for it. I mean, it's not writing, it's just mashing. I guess it's kind of like writing. The script that he's preparing for this is pretty funny. Actually quite funny. I'm like legitimately waiting for the next one. They're super great, super funny. I'm gonna link them in the show notes. If you haven't seen them, definitely go check them out. And there hasn't been one, so I'm a little bit disappointed. But another thing that you guys did last week, I got from you this morning, Death. It's a video of a McCree jumping on top of a Pharah on Eichenwald, having the Pharah boost him up using her shift, and him high nooning and killing a bunch of people. And the first time I saw that, I was like, oh, Overwatch just got unlocked so much. There's so much we haven't done that we could be doing. I'm thinking like, oh man, what if we got a Bastion to siege mode up on... What if we got a Bastion to siege mode up on Pharah? What if that happened?
Right.
Could we do that? That would be so amazing. And then I realized that it's an enemy Pharah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in a custom game. There's 400 HP on the McCree, which is another giveaway. But yeah, even still though, it's an awesome play of the game. There's even bots in the game too. That was the worst part about it to me, because custom game, like your teammate helping, all that just makes you saltier if you're watching that play of the game from the I just died to it perspective. That would just be
going over and helping. Like if it was in ranks, that would be so great.
The salt levels would just be so high. And it would just, but so to me, I don't know, that was a large part of the appeal to it, but nonetheless, I mean, it's still just got that PogChamp moment to it when you see it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. But let us round off the segment with another mini segment.
Overwatch Today, Meme of the Week.
Yes, that is right, the Meme of the Week, and we had a pretty good one from Overwatch today. It is a picture of, I believe that's Dawson from Dawson's Creek, or it's at least the same actor, I think, crying. And it says, Pluppy traded to Misfits equals true pain recorded. Hashtag High Noon Podcast feels. It's so true. Like, we joke around about it, but I was legitimately upset when that happened. I remember I was at my desk at work, and I follow the Score Esports live updates and stuff, and I get a notification that says huge Misfits and Rogue trade. I'm like, what? Or huge three-way trade, Misfits, Rogue, Luminosity. I'm like, well, there's like no chance that Rogue could trade Pluppy, right? And then I read it, and I'm like, no. Yeah. It's like when the Red Sox traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees in like 1918 or whatever year it was. They just haven't been the same. Rogue hasn't been the same. Misfits hasn't been the same. Luminosity hasn't been the same, but that's probably been for their benefit. They've been not the same in a good way.
Right.
But in that vein, it's been really kind of tough to gauge because they've played in like 2 tournaments. One of them takes a million years to do, the Apex series. But we'll talk a little bit about that later in our thoughts.
And I've actually really wanted, though, to like go back and recap that, because I think that's important to do.
Absolutely.
When you look at things like that, is to after time. I mean, it's like when you're talking about drafts in the NFL and stuff. Like, you can offer your opinion and you can grade the draft immediately after it happens. Sure, that's great, but you don't know anything until these guys' careers have ended with the team. Like, you don't actually know anything. So it'll be really, really interesting to kind of look back at that once we have the next slew of big tournaments where all these guys are mixing it up with each other again, instead of having, this tier over there and then these other side tournaments. Like, I'm just itching to get everybody back together on the same event again.
The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, I think if Apex was just in the U.S., it would probably be more palatable.
It's really just about, like, to me, the biggest frustration with it is just separating the talent pool like that. Everybody, we're all so fond of it, and to the benefit of the tournament, it hurts this overall idea that everybody kind of aligns themselves with the server that they play on, right? So you've got people spamming, people spamming for EU, people spamming for NA, and then the Koreans who are writing better than us. So I don't know, like, that's kind of the NCAA, like, everybody loves their school, stuff like that. But in esports, it's really been more of an EU NA fight, and I don't know, I want to get back to it, right? Like, it makes the crowd more excited, it makes me more excited. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think, in a way, like, it makes sense that there's like an A bracket or like a top tier tournament. Like Overwatch League is going to be that, right? Like, it's going to be the top tier tournament that we're going to want all the best teams in, and then maybe we can have side tournaments with lower tier teams, like a B League or something. Maybe something that feeds into Overwatch League. I don't know. But we want that. The problem is that it doesn't feel like that. Like, it doesn't feel like the MLB and the farm system of the MLB, or the there's really not a farm system for football, but I think Major League Baseball is probably the best example, where like you have the top tier teams, the Major League Baseball, and then you have lower tier teams with either players that are injured or developmental, or they're coming up and coming prospects, and when they're either not good enough or what have you, they play in the lower division, and then when they're good, they play in the upper division. It doesn't really feel like that for this because none of the tournaments are connected to each other, which makes sense. There's a bunch of different tournament organizers. It wouldn't make sense for them to really be connected, but it's not like, okay, well, we had this feed of tournaments that led into this Apex League that was like, okay, the top 10 teams in the world, or 16 teams, or whatever it is, maybe I think it might be 20. The top 20 teams in the world are at Apex. It's like, no, we invited like definitely the top 2 teams in NA/EU, a couple others that are like arguably the like rest of the top 5, and then a bunch of Korean teams, and there's still like some like upper-ish level teams and some up and comers left in NA/EU, but it's tough to tell because Hammers Esports, all the power to them for their performance lately, but how do they face off against Envious? We have no idea. We have no idea how to where to place the Hammers Esports of the world, the Kungarnas of the world, the Immortals of the world, because they've just played against each other. It's like, how do you know how good the best JV player is? You don't until they play varsity. Like if they go like some I've seen it happen a lot in specifically high school basketball. You have the player that dominates in JV, and then they go play varsity, and they never see the court. They just sit. They don't play. They're not good enough. They just don't stack up. They, for whatever reason, were better than everyone at JV, but they could not make it to the top tier. So I get what you're saying. Like, we've had too much segmentation. I don't necessarily feel the EU versus NA pull as much. It's just like we have top tier teams way over here that never touch anyone, and we have these other teams that some of them started before or after the Apex started, and we don't know how good they actually are. It's kind of tough.
And at the same time, where is EU? Period. I haven't seen. I mean, they didn't last month. They didn't have an EU. Alienware monthly melee. We see some. I mean, relatively small by comparison.
Yeah, the Strivewire event is the only thing really that
couldn't level the camera on when you're looking at the commentators. That's what they're playing in, and I don't understand. I don't understand what the tier is over there anymore, because we had the big trade with all those 3 EU teams, and then everything seems to have stopped.
Yeah, where's Rogue been? I haven't seen them in a million years.
Rogue, Misfits, Ninjas in Pajamas. Where are they?
Misfits is at Apex.
Oh, okay, that's right. But I mean, just in general, though, the scene in EU has fallen off quite a bit, and there's no reason it can't be gotten back. I mean, as long as there's people willing to enter the tournaments, and as long as you have more than, I'd say, 3 good teams that have an opportunity to win. Even if it's a small opportunity, just any opportunity, it can be compelling enough in the final rounds of the tournament. So there's no reason it can't come back. It's just kind of this lack of events and this lack of exposure for it that I don't know. I'm still, every time I'm just sitting here going I can't wait till everybody gets on LAN again, because I don't know how everybody stacks up. I don't know how the teams. I can't even be confident. I mean, Envy dropped off since their absolute dominance, and then they kind of got it back. They won the Apex event, but then the next Apex isn't going to finish for who knows how long, and they're not going to play in anything else. They're not going to play in anything else.
They can't play
in the interim, right? Because they're stuck over there. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird spot right now for the tournament scene as a whole, and I don't know. I'm excited to see when it ends, because it's not going to last long. I mean, we had how many holidays, and what were they supposed to do? Put a tournament that literally went back to back with Super Bowl Sunday? Nobody was going to do a tournament this weekend. Right. That wasn't going to happen. So I don't know. There's nothing really on the schedule that sticks out and stands out in my mind. But one thing I'll say about Alienware is they don't always give us much notice. They just start showing up, and they start playing on a Tuesday, and all of a sudden you've got I've got something to watch every day after I get out of work. So I'm really hoping for that, and I do think I saw confirmation that the Alienware events will be coming back and doubling the prize pool, and they will be running both EU and NA. I don't know for sure that all of that is guaranteed, but I don't see any reason to not expect there at least to be a double prize pool NA tournament this month.
Yeah, there's a lot more to be said about that, and I actually think we'll circle back around to that. But I want to go actually lead into the formal segment, because I didn't play the drop. But let us actually move right along.
It's tournament talk.
Okay, so we had, like I said, we had a couple of tournaments this week. actually the Haste series. That was actually a nice little diamond in the rough, honestly. The production value was good. The casters were fine. I'd never heard of them before, but they were good. No complaints from the casters or the production value or anything, which is great. I mean, we're so spoiled, and I bet if we looked back at some of the older tournaments, we would be like, how did we ever watch this?
Right.
But honestly, like, the bar's been raised, folks. The days of just stringing together nonsense and having people who have no idea what they're talking about, I mean, that's not really ever happened. But stringing together nonsense with terrible production value and calling it an Overwatch tournament are gone. We're playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars of prize pools on a fairly regular basis. We have 20 teams who are in Korea playing. This is legit now. So the bar has certainly been raised, and that the Haste series did not disappoint. But so we saw. I guess this is what would be considered the top tier of teams that are currently residing in NA right now. We saw Hammers, EV, CLG, and Tempo in the top 4, and we saw Hammers take down Tempo Storm 3-0 in the event. We've continued. Hammers has continued their dominance. Really, I mean, I guess it's too early to call it dominance, but they've won back-to-back weeks of the biggest tournament that they could play in.
And they did it in convincing fashion. It's not too far off calling it dominance. I mean, the field being hamstrung as it is kind of leaves the door open for that. But they 3-0'd the new Tempo roster. In the finals, they 2-0'd EV, and actually, if you look at this tournament, it's all 2-0s and 3-0s.
Yeah.
There's no win where they gave up a map, and it's really kind of funny to look at. But nonetheless, I mean, there was a lot to keep an eye on here. We got to see CLG in their highest stakes event since really their forming or their signing by CLG. So that was a lot of fun to see. Also, some familiar faces. I'm really intrigued by that Tempo Storm lineup I just mentioned. They took basically 3 of the guys from Spicy Boys and kind of added them to what was left of the Tempo roster. When you look on their website, it just lists Hui and a manager and somebody else. So they're kind of building this roster from the huge free agent pool we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, and it looks pretty strong so far. And I know JKW was there. I'm not sitting here with the list in front of me because I was hoping to get it off their website so everything would be official. But I mean, they really had a solid performance here. I didn't watch all of the events, so I can't vouch for actually how their play was and how their opponents were and things like that. But just looking at the rounds they won, and they aren't all. The reason this tournament was good was in large part due to having a solid lineup of teams. So they got second place in a big tournament. The only one they couldn't take down was Hammers, and I think that's understandable because they're clearly on fire and really making a bid to be in that top tier of teams. Yeah,
I cannot wait to see how Hammers and Immortals and Kungarna, I guess. You can throw Tempo in there too. Tempo, CLG, those are kind of like the top 5 that are currently like active in NA right now. C9 is in Apex.
Oh, you mean
I mean, like actively playing in NA right now, It's like the parents went on vacation, the kids are back playing. No disrespect to the teams, but that's kind of how it feels. I want to see how many, if any, of the teams end up transitioning to the next level. It's kind of different because all those teams at Apex are sponsored. They're obviously they're living, maybe they're not living together. I don't know what the actual living situation is, but they're working basically, right? They're professional esports athletes right now. They're being paid to be there. They're being paid to perform. They're being paid for their team. I don't know exactly what the contracts are for a lot of these other teams. I believe CLG is essentially that. They're, I think, going to be in the team house. I think Devin mentioned that. But Tempo Storm with the new signing, probably not don't have a team house, or they're not living in the team house yet. Hammers, maybe, but I doubt it. Who knows how long these contracts are? Who knows how set in stone these contracts are? Whereas the Cloud9s and the Enviouses of the world have been established teams that have been playing together with each other for a very long time. So I almost feel like there's a divide right now, and then when they rejoin, there's going to be a divide, and it's going to be a while, I think, before teams get close to catching up to them. That's just my prediction, just because of the nature of the very volatile nature of NA, and the very cannot really be volatile nature of the Apex tournament with those top tier teams. So I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is I really think Hammers has an opportunity to make a splash even in those top tier of teams. Just because, I mean, we haven't seen Hammers play against Envy or Cloud9 or what have you, but we've seen Envy and Cloud9 play against these teams that we do have here still. And Hammers looks like those teams when they play against them. Like, they just look on another level of coordination, maybe less so, and it's probably not. I have to see, in order to be confident in this judgment, but they might not quite be there in mechanical skill level is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. But we don't know, because right now we just see them crushing people. Yeah. And we need to see them get into these 50-50s. Like, I need to see you face off against Taimu to know where you rank in mechanical skill level compared to Taimu. Like, it needs to happen, and we're not seeing those matchups right now. So that's the one team I think really has an opportunity to break out farther than just being the top of the middle and kind of make a push to be fully in the top. The other one I would have thought, and I don't know if we've got this on the notes here or not, I can't remember, but Ghost Garna, the ghost of Kungarna,
it's there.
Whatever's left of that tire fire.
I think they just parted ways completely.
Yeah, brutal. But if it's in the notes, we'll talk about it a little more later. But I don't know. We can't say it enough that we're just waiting for Apex to end and for there to be some big LAN or some big series that happens on the NA side.
Yeah, I just want to see the mix happen. I really want to see how these, in our eyes, mid-tier teams or second tier, whatever you want to call them, teams face off against the Enviouses and Cloud9s of the world. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I think this is potentially the most lull we've had in a while. And I think part of it is just because Apex plays they literally have played 2 rounds in the multiple weeks we've been covering. It's just tough to care consistently about that when A, they're on the other side of the world, and B, they're playing 1 round every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we have we're sleeping for 100% of the matches, so we have 0 chance to watch them live. That's what really grabbed me about it. The season 1 finals was hey, I was up at 4:00 in the morning. I didn't have to do anything. I just turned it on and got to see it live and knew exactly what happened when it happened. That was great, and I'm kind of hoping that the same thing happens, or at least that the finals are on a weekend, so I can plan it out that way a little bit.
I want to see the Gosu Gamers weeklies come back.
Yeah, I've been half hoping Hexagrams would join us for another episode just so we could kind of grill them about that. Hey, man, we've talked about this on the show. It's good to have a development league. Where's it at?
A lot of teams cut their teeth on those tournaments, and people know when they're going on, and people know that they're happening every week. The casting is great. There's so it's crazy to think now, so many, over a year in, and Gosu Gamers Weekly is one of the best series we've seen. It started Overwatch Esports, and honestly,
certainly the only one I've participated in.
Yeah, true story. But we do have actually one other tournament I wanted to briefly just go over the results of. We mentioned it earlier, the Strivewire monthly brawl, and really the only reason I'm bringing this up is because A, it's the only EU tournament I've seen at all, and B, it's the only tournament we've seen, Reunited and Dignitas in a very long time. So, really quickly, we saw Dignitas, Reunited, GOOW, not even sure who that is, and T-Rocks T-Rocks, I believe, is a team we've heard from before, at least seen in.
They've been around a little bit, yes.
But we saw Reunited take out GOOW 3-0 in the finals, with Dignitas taking out T-Rocks in the third place match. So, not really too much to say about that, except that apparently Reunited and Dignitas are still alive and well.
Yeah, I'll give it the unofficial match of the week, Dignitas versus Reunited, in what looks to be the semifinals there. I think, those are the two teams that piqued my interest and, made me pay any attention to the event at all. When I see them, I check them all out, and then I look at the brackets and I decide if I'm going to watch it for very long. And those two definitely grabbed my attention. So I haven't seen the match yet. I plan to watch it very, very soon. I will put it up on the website as the match of the week if it's worth it.
Yeah, so definitely an interesting series of events for us, or lack thereof. I don't know. It's just so, it's frustrating having, like, we're in a very weird spot, right? So the tournaments. The Apex tournament is big, but it's not Overwatch League big. So Overwatch League could have matches that went on at 3 a.m, but I'm still going to follow every match that happened. Just because it's Overwatch League. It's the league that we need to be watching. It's the Premier League. All the best teams are going to be in it. We're going to be building, we're going to be the fan base. We're going to, I'm all in on Overwatch League. But Apex is one of probably the biggest tournament series we've seen so far for Overwatch. But it's not big enough that I care to go out of my way to check out all the stuff that's going on with it. It's very interesting. And then the other tournaments are so much lower tier that it's well, why are we even watching? It's one or two maybe teams that we've ever heard of, and then a bunch of other teams. It's those teams might be good, but it's tough to tell exactly how good they are when they're only playing against teams we've also never heard of.
Right.
It's very tough.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it can't be good Overwatch to watch.
Can be.
That's weird to say, but that we've talked about it the last couple episodes. The storylines are what make you want to tune in. There's always good team, quality players playing against each other.
Yep.
I can just spectate from my friends list and see a good amount of quality Overwatch being played out. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you need those storylines. We need the teams, because I love that, right? The casting, to kind of hype everything up for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I just want Overwatch League. I not even necessarily okay, Overwatch League, it's going to be a while out. Okay, I just want something about Overwatch League.
Right, give us some info. I don't know, give anything at this point would be great. Yeah. But the thing that I'm super hyped about, maybe it's because I'm looking at it happening at the end of the month for the NFL, is the combine. I love that stuff. I can watch that. That's not even football. It's just guys running through cones, but I can sit there and watch it like crazy, because every now and then somebody that's projected to go to my team shows up, and I'm how's he going to do? Is he going to, is he going to look like he's worth it, or how excited am I going to be about this? So it's about that team aspect, and that everything about it. We just don't know near enough to get excited about it, other than the idea, which is admittedly a really exciting idea. But
yeah, but we can only ride that for so long.
Yeah,
I don't know. It'll be interesting, but let's move on. Guys, remember, if you want to support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/HighNoonPodcast. Huge shout-outs to Nathan C., the newest patron, and huge shout-out to all the patrons that keep our Discord channel alive and well. Always, there's always something being talked about, whether it's a scandal of some sort, whether it's team shifts, whether it's a scandal that we create with just having I wouldn't say arguments, discussions in the chat. It's really great. I really do like the way that we have the Discord set up, where it's patron only. I've been in a lot of other Discord channels where it's anyone can join, and they're good for some things, but in terms of having like decent conversations, not so much. It gets spammy, and the first time that people start using @everyone and just posting garbage, like you immediately just turn off notifications, and the Discord channel is basically useless. Not the case for this. That rarely ever happens, except when I'm posting stuff, like when we're going live and all that good stuff. And I don't even think other people have the ability to @everyone. I think I took that away.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, I really like it. And I think you guys would too. So head on over to patreon.com/iNoonPodcast. A Patreon level of any amount will get you the Discord link. But let's move right along to...
Oh, let's break it down!
Yes, let us break it down. And speaking of breaking it down, did you see the next character coming to Heroes of the Storm?
No.
It is Lucio.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's actually on the PTR right now. I believe he is. And he looks a lot like Lucio from Overwatch, like very much similar. And his skin, the skin that you can buy for him is the Ribbit one, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
So I'm already sick of that Heroes of the Storm character. We can move right along.
Yeah, sounds really great. Yeah.
I mean, if I hadn't played him a ton, I don't know. Like, I really liked Tracer going into there because I was always better at the mobile characters in MOBAs than I am in shooters. I could never quite handle Scout or characters like that in TF2.
Yep.
But I've historically been a fairly good like solo mid or attack damage carry when I've chosen to play MOBAs. So.
Yeah, I don't know how engaged Lucio will be. Doesn't seem like he does a lot of damage, so it's always kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of like... I enjoy healing in most games, and I'm usually pretty good at it, but I don't know. I'm typically not an aura guy. Like, I don't like the character that just, hey, my power is that I stand here and I'm a totem for everybody else. Like, that's less fun to me.
He can slide on stuff, though, which is pretty sweet.
Oh, that is kind of neato. Just have to see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to buy him, so, buy it.
Yeah.
But back to Overwatch stuff. We kind of called it a while ago, but Ghost Gaming parted ways with Kungarna, or my guess is probably the other way around.
And to think 7 days ago, I was worried we went too far when we, we talked about that.
No, I mean, we talked about it before. It kind of makes sense from both perspectives. Without knowing any of the actual details of the deal, I could see a world where it made sense at the time for both teams. We certainly wouldn't be talking about Ghost Gaming right now if they didn't pick up Kungarna for like an eighth of a tournament.
Yeah, and if you believe that no publicity is bad publicity, then good on you, Ghost. But I mean, it's not even like they didn't do anything wrong. I don't want it to be like we're shaming them or anything like that. Like, we don't need to
unethical or
no, we don't need to get the game bell. It's just puzzling. Even to go so far as like for it to come out that half the team never signed with Ghost Gaming. They didn't sign an agreement. They never planned to. They just were in the tournament. The team decided to go that direction. So the move to Ghost was the move away from half their team. And then the whole entirety of it is gone now, from my understanding of it. Like, there's not even a Kungarna going to come back out of this. So very, very puzzling and disappointing too at the same time, if that is true, that Kungarna is not going to reform under the old name. I don't have anything official on that. That's just the impression I got from reading everything about it, which was a little bit of a combination of Twitter posts and score articles and things like that. So, I don't have a reliable source there. Do you have anything on that? Do you know if Kungarna is reforming or no?
I don't. I'm trying to look at their Twitter right now, and I'm not seeing anything. It said that they're no longer associated with Ghost. This is the official statement from Kungarna's Twitter, which is @team_Kungarna. We're no longer associated with Ghost. Longer announcement coming later. Thank you all for the support. That was yesterday that tweet came out.
We don't have the longer.
Yeah, I don't think we have the longer yet. So, yeah, we'll keep you updated. We'll probably have an update next week if anything interesting comes out of it. You can always follow them on Twitter. But
yeah, I mean, it was like Connor J and Blam and one other, I can't remember who, like never intended to go to Ghost. So I'm really hoping they stay together because the team was very fun to watch. They seem to have some really good chemistry. A lot of highlight reel moments with that team.
Yeah.
And so they're somebody I definitely would like to see around. The way it sounded, it would be hard to imagine half the team signed a contract that got rid of the other half the team, and then they all just were like, "Oh, everything's fine." Like 3 days later, like it seems to me like something was going on there.
Yeah, I just, it's tough because we don't know the deals, we don't know the relationships between the team, but we have been following Overwatch, competitive Overwatch, and the esports of Overwatch for long enough to know that the actual mechanical skill of any given player is not nearly as important as the team chemistry. So shifting around your team, on the one hand, shifting around your team is not a good strategy for long-term success. However, shifting around your team early probably does lead to longer-term success. So it's tough. And then also it kind of gets into what actually constitutes a team. Like, if half the team leaves Kungarna, like which half is still Kungarna, or are neither of them Kungarna, or are both of them Kungarna? It probably just rests on like whatever guy started the team. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, the name might stay with one, but I would say they're just neither Kungarna anymore if that's what happened. But I don't know, because like you said, the announcement, the Gosu Gamers article about it, leads me towards they might be okay. Like there's a poll at the bottom. Will they bounce back from being let go by Ghost Gaming? But it's just the whole situation is kind of awkward, and we're still. And if we'd recorded this tomorrow, there probably would have been an answer from Kungarna on their Twitter account by now, but we're not. So shout outs to the players, and I really hope you guys manage to stay together. I hope everything's good there. But we just don't know, and it gave me the impression that we might not see them as a group anymore, which is a shame to go from 15th in the world, top 10 on your server to gone. Definitely not what we want to see.
And they also, it looks like they have the Kungarna has other teams associated with them. So
they do?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I think that, or maybe they were just, I don't know. I'm not actually 100% sure. I thought they had like a H1Z1 either streamer or team or something about H1Z1.
And if that was true, I wouldn't have think they were signing with another org.
Maybe not.
But I don't know.
Oh no, they were just playing H1Z1. Okay.
Oh.
Rip.
That's
they only have like the Kungarna Twitter only has like under 800 followers, so like less than us,
right.
Or at least less than. No, yeah, I think less than us. Definitely less than me. Probably less than us. High Noon Podcast has slowly been creeping up to my personal Twitter, which is good. I would love to see High Noon have way more than me. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that shapes up. It all seems like it might just be completely for naught when Overwatch League comes out and they're going to be like, oh, you need to do something like this and everyone has to be a free agent or something stupid that just like, okay, all the teams just whoop, done. We're going complete dissolution of every team and we're making the league. So let's go. Which will, it'll be fun for us, probably suck for the orgs, but maybe not. I don't know. But let's move right along. I don't want to go too much into this. The only reason I want to talk about it is because I made a meme. But the meme basically, and I'm going to post it in the show notes, it is basically Overwatch has worked 0 days without a sex scandal. Long story short, there were some shady things that went on at the Apex tournament with Lunatic High's players. You can go to the Score Esports for more details. Again, not really going to go too much into it. I don't know a ton of the details besides what I read there, so I'll let you guys discern what you can out of it from there. It's just funny that like this is what Overwatch has come to. Like we made it, boys. We're big time now. We got a sex scandal.
Right. Yeah, we're big time now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a weird situation there. It's unfortunate to see the team suffer as a result of it. Obviously they're missing some players in the Apex event now, so that's definitely going to make an impact.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll have to get the details from there. I'm not even sure from what I read of it, which isn't much. Not even sure it would have been a thing had it happened to an NA team. It might have just been a cultural thing for
Pretty sure it was
for
a
that.
lunatic high team specific thing.
Right.
Or maybe
right.
it was Apex. I don't know. Again, just read it on the article. I don't want to speculate too much about things I'm not 100% sure about, especially weird, sensitive topics like this. But, and the last kind of off-topic thing I wanted to talk about was we got a very interesting video that Terry Crews made for Yahoo Esports, which was an unofficial audition for Doomfist. And the link is in the show notes, so take a watch at that. It's pretty great. Also, seeing Terry Crews as Doomfist would be pretty sweet.
I've been a huge Terry Tate office linebacker fan since the moment those came out. So anything that man wants to do, I will be.
Wait,
I will be a big fan.
Is that him?
Oh yeah.
I thought that was.
I'm pretty sure it's him.
I think I'm thinking of someone else. Let me see. I'm checking this live right now.
I'm googling it too.
Because I thought that was someone else. Yeah, it is. It's not him. It's the Coltrane from Gears of War. It's a different guy.
Is it? Man, I haven't seen it in so long. I really just thought it was Terry Crews.
I mean, it makes sense because he's like an overexcited big dude, and his name is literally Terry in it. So I don't blame you for that. But no, it's the guy that voiced the Coltrane in Gears of War. That's the only reason I know that.
Gotcha. I don't know who that is. So
he's not like a famous actor. I think he actually used to be a.
I think somebody might have told me that as a half joke when I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something like that, and I just believed it. Never looked into it again. That's super funny.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's move right along to Soldier Says, and this week we've got one directed at a tournament series that's happening in Korea. I won't name the name of which 3-month-long tournament series that's happening in Korea right now, featuring Misfits, Envious, Cloud9, and many other Korean teams. I won't name which series that is, but we're talking about that one. I'm not even looking at the right notes.
I was confused. I didn't know where we were going.
No, I have the right thing, but sorry. So let's do this.
If you're going to plan out a huge Overwatch series, play more than one round every 5.5 years.
So, again.
If you can't tell from this episode, we're a little frustrated that Apex still has all of our teams.
They have all of our teams. They have every team, and okay, it'd be one thing if they played every day and we could just go back and watch them a million matches. If they were playing a million matches of Overwatch, that'd be great, but they're playing so few.
I binge watch everything, so it's really tough to get me hyped up to go watch one VOD and then get out. I want to skip through the over talk and then watch 6 rounds and as little time as I can.
Yeah, it's tough. It really is, but regardless, someday it'll be over, right? And then we'll have Overwatch League, and everything will be great. We'll look back at these days and be like, man, the days were so easy. Those shows were so easy. There's so little to talk about. Now we have too much to talk about. We have to have 3-hour episodes.
It's been really awkward from the podcast host perspective of how do we possibly talk about everything we want to talk about to I got nothing. It's been I don't know, 3 times it's changed.
Yeah, it's flip-flop multiple times, from the game literally not even being playable by anyone to holy crap, there's so many tournaments, everyone's getting in the tournaments, to now where it's like, well, all the good teams got poached by Korea, and they're playing. They got poached, and they're only allowed to play one game every 17 full moons. So,
Yeah.
hopefully we can strike.
It'll end soon enough.
Yeah, hopefully we can strike a fine sweet spot at some point.
Right. Take one team.
Take one team and keep them. Or just have everyone play in a global league played on the global stage at
Overwatch League coming Q3 2017.
Well, you're onto something there. That sounds like a good idea to me.
It really does. Also,
Did we ever get official confirmation on that date? Like everybody,
I heard it somewhere. I don't remember where, and I
still don't expect to see a match played until 2018.
Someone somewhere at some point in some way said that there was going to be some like NA only like preseason test run league that led
that would be like the worst
at the end of 2017 that led into the more global Overwatch League of 2018. Whether that's true or not, I still haven't looked into.
I hope not. It's not that we haven't, and it's not that you haven't looked into it. It's that it's not out there. It's somebody said it, and we can't verify it. If that information was out there, we'd know about it.
Yeah.
I think even the date, too. Like, I don't think anything's been official there. I think Manny was giving his best guess when he said 2018, and I think people are just hopeful that it's going to be a little sooner than that.
Yeah, that would be nice, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see it happen at some point ever.
I used to say that about the game's release, so I'm confident.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We have come so far since the days of not even being able to play. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think that's good. I still like we could talk about the PTR stuff, but like, why?
It's not. It's nowhere near official. That's how I felt about it last week. It's like it's nowhere near official. There was just like a blue post saying they might want to do. I mean, we might as well talk about it a little bit. They're talking about changing up D.Va's defensive matrix a little bit. Like, there's no reason to just keep hinting at it, I guess. But they're just basically, to me, it reads like a bug fix, though. Like, you should be able to stand behind your teammate and completely shield him. So
expanding the range and functionality of it.
Right. So it's just, to me, kind of going about doing what it was intended to do. They didn't want to nerf this when they did the last nerf, and I don't know that they did, but it just was kind of covered up by all the other pluses that she had, or complete lack of negatives that she had in the last patch. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think that really is going to do anything to change the play rate, the pick rate, anything of D.Va.
No.
Maybe up it a tiny bit, but it doesn't sound like they're talking about big sweeping change that does anything other than make it work the way you thought it worked to begin with.
Yeah, the main thing I think they said was that you're going to be better at saving your teammates from Roadhog hooks, which is like,
right.
You still could. It was just kind of tough.
And it's happening a whole lot less now, so yeah.
So,
but the other thing they're talking about doing is a little bit more newsworthy, but it's also farther out and something we have no details on. Just kind of their general idea that they aren't happy with Bastion, and they're looking at making some changes. So they want to make recon mode more viable. They're thinking about lowering the spread, increasing magazine size, things like that. As far as sentry mode goes, kind of focusing it to be a tank buster and a shield shredder, rather than having it be his default, I'm useless if I'm not in this mode. In the blue post, they literally said, which will make it feel less suicidal to be transformed. It's really bad to be stationary, guys. Like this just in.
This just in 5 years ago.
Right. So they're looking at like doing things that'll help him in shredding kind of that single target, but at the same time, they're going to increase the spread and maybe take away his headshots, in kind of that sounds really bad, right? Like, oh, that's my damage character, but maybe they'll make him take a little less damage when he's transformed, things like that. And they're also looking at self-repair. I know less about this one. I'm kind of just reading it as we go, but he uses it while moving in their current build that they're testing internally. He's on like a resource system. Think of Diva's defense matrix cost, things like that. So they're really looking at his core changing what Bastion is and does, just because like we've said, and like is common sense to people that have played games where there's turrets, not moving is not good. So they need to do something to kind of give him some way to stand out. And I don't know that they're looking to push him into high-level tournament play, because I don't think that people will really tolerate a turret on their team for very long at the top level. But it would be nice if he was a little more viable, like into Diamond. Like Diamond is a little soon for a whole character to just be completely unusable. Even outside of people yelling at you when you're trying to play. Like if you try to play Junkrat at Diamond right now, you'll get screamed at to no end. But he's got uses at that tier. Like there's no reason he can't see some play if you're in a Diamond game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting if they're going to actually, in a fun and creative and useful way, walk that fine line of either being OP or unplayable for Bastion.
Yeah, I don't think there's really too much. Like, it's going to be really hard to find that sweet spot, but hopefully they can do it, because I don't mind playing the turret playstyle. Like, it's not super boring for me to play on occasion. Like, I wouldn't want to main Bastion almost no matter what they did to him, but you know, I really like the offbeat characters that are very different. Like I love Torbjorn, I love Junkrat, Symmetra. These are some of my Hanzo. These are some of my favorites to play myself when I'm just in quick play, goofing around, trying to have a good time. And I think Bastion could find his way into being something I would like to play.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is like, okay, you have to live with the fact that he's not going to be able to move. Like, you can make him take less damage, which makes sense. You can make his heal a little bit better, which makes sense. At the same time, make his damage more appropriate based on his defensive options being expanded. But how do you make his recon mode good to a point where you'd want to use it, but not just be strictly better than Soldier 76?
Yeah, that was actually, it's like you read my team's chat where I got in an argument with somebody about it. And it's like, I think
you posted it in the patron-only Discord.
Oh, okay. Well, I used some of my own lines twice. I guess I'm allowed to do that.
True.
But yeah, like it's exactly right. Is if you want him to be viable when he's moving, if you want me to play him, he needs to have some usage out, like better than Soldier 76, who does a pretty good job of throwing some damage into his shield as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he's not a tank buster. He doesn't fill that role, but he like makes up for some gaps in there. Like if you have a Roadhog and a Soldier, you're going to be able to take down the Reinhardt shield with the rest of the fire being thrown in there too.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, if they can do it or not. But I kind of hope they do, because I like seeing more of those heroes. I like the not human heroes to be playable. Winston, Zenyatta, I guess.
And I think there is a bit of a need for a tank buster right now. I mean, Reaper does it, but he's got some inherent weaknesses, and there could be some variety to the tank buster class, since McCree can't fill that role anymore with Fan the Hammer basically being removed from his kit.
True. It'll definitely be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, a different type of tank buster. We've seen the McCree with the kind of like burst damage now. We've seen Reaper with the, shotgun style. This will be more of a, Gatling gun, obviously, type of tank buster, which would be something new, maybe a little bit refreshing. I'm really interested to see if they can walk that line of not being OP and also not being unplayable.
I know how they can do it. Get rid of hero limits, which would bring back double Winston, which is the only place we've ever seen him see play anyways. Like, well, if you're going to run two Winstons, I'm just going to let my Bastion sit here, since you can't knock him back when you ultimate. I shred your life total. Like, that tank buster strategy is really where he's already seen his play, so
Yeah.
it's a good spot to try to fit him into. I'll give him that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, even if it's just minor changes and we see a 2% increase in Bastion. It'll be for the better.
Yeah, I mean the first week will be terrible because we'll see a 90% increase in Bastion.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll keep you updated. Again, this is all still like it's not even in PTR. It's like speculation. I mean, official speculation from like Blizzard and Overwatch team like employees, but it's still speculation about what they're internally testing / also could potentially be on the PTR. Nothing confirmed yet. But I think that's going to be it for this episode, guys. We stretched almost no content into a full episode. Kind of like every week we talked about.
Look forward to it next week.
Yeah. If you guys have any tournaments or things about Overwatch that you want us to talk about next week or any week for that matter, tweet at us at High Noon Podcast. You can also reach out and find all of our contact info on highnoonpodcast.com. Death, do you have any shout outs or other things you want to talk about at the end?
No, I usually give them the website, and you did that for me. So.
I had to.
Yeah, you would.
I mean, I didn't have to. I just wanted to.
I mean, you do the brought to you by at the beginning. You're the soldier says, or I'm sorry, did I just kill the magic? That's the Blevins. Yeah, I don't know.
You want to do any of those things?
No. I really don't. All right, you got me. Bluff called. and the show.
And your punishment is boop. Now it's me. But yeah, guys, again, you can always check us out iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, all that stuff is High Noon Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at @the_Blevins on Twitter. Deathblow, here's something for you. Where can people find you on Twitter?
At D3ATHBL0W.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. Let me get my calculator. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, he types numbers in his letters in his calculator, and nobody knows what it means.
Idea what. It says boobs. But on that note, for Deathblow, guys, I am the Blevins. Remember, it's high noon.
Got his boots and he put on his hat. Threw the coin away that same day. It's in his past and he's not looking back. He says, finding mine now guides my way. He's not good, but he sure ain't bad. He'll make amends for the sins that he has. He says, I'll change the world one bullet at a time till I find mine.
You guys thought I forgot, but also thank you to Matt Reno, thank you to Adam Hogg, and thank you to all the patrons. Bye!